Some universities are going to have their students pay for their students. You know, all depends on how you do that. If you do the pay for their students application, you'll be just fine with having them download. You can buy a site license. You could have like 20 or 50 VPads running at X number of time. On the opposite end, we're going to have the ability for the students to be able to buy this, get a user password and log in, so that cost comes off the university. So it depends upon your specifications. That's what I do. You know, I work with you on that. We figure out what's the best, and you do it that way. So, but my session wasn't very long. We don't have a whole lot. What I would like to do now, though, is you know, yeah, of course.
So if you're using a WebCT environment, which I've never done that. So I mean, okay. I've done WebCT, but I've not used this. How would you would use the VPad?
You could. You know, WebCT would just show your PowerPoint. You know, so, but again, this is asynchronous, so it has to go one by one by one. So you need to be all together on the WebCT page.
You can't do it.
No.
Okay.
Yes, it needs to be together.
Is there a process where you don't have to do that?
Not yet. So not anything that's coming out.
Add that
yeah.
to your list, but because I can see if you're doing an online WebCT or Blackboard environment, and you put the question up there, you need to give them much more time than 10 seconds to respond.
Oh, the 10 seconds to respond, by the way, is a default.
Oh,
you can go up to 90, a couple minutes, you know, or you don't have to have it at all.
A day. I mean, you're going to have to, if you're going to, if it's all online, you're not going to tune in at the same time.
Right. It's this asynchronous environment, which is a totally different world. What we're talking about here is, you know, we're all convened at one time, watching a presentation go at one time, real-time collection of data. That asynchronous stuff is definitely in the loop. Believe me, I've been pushing that one, going through, because it's something that's very big in your market, in your world, and it's a lot of stuff. The change of classes are moving that way. But right now, it's all focused on real-time gathering assessment right now. Are there any other questions or applications? You know, the two things that are coming out are those two new things: the new receivers that can be in any location and talk to each other, as well as the VPad browser-based. So those would be a way of doing this. Yes.
So the clients are browser-based. On the other end, is it still embedded in PowerPoint?
Well, on the presentation end, depending on what you want to use, because you see that they are coming out with the Lite products that can be using either or. So if you're using Lite, then you want to do PDF, or if you want to use any other documents that you may already have. I know a lot of people do a PDF presentation that way, or just a Word document.
It can just be a client.
Yeah, whichever program, TurningPoint program you're using would work. So.
On that Lite version, Carrie, is that having a participant list, or is that strictly just in the moment, one of my students knowing feelings, or are we actually capturing any data?
What is it? I'm sorry, I don't know that one.
I think it's right now just capturing data, for the moment.
Okay, that's what I would have expected.
But with the XR card,
with the XR card, you automatically create.
Their information plus their response.
So that makes sense. It's a good question.
We're also looking for server hosting for the WebVPad too. So
right.
As you have to finalize, but we may be hosting for people to use as well.
Oh.
So they wouldn't have to run it on their server.
Oh, okay. Which has a twofold. Yeah, right. Hosting.
So if they have these pads, they could be in one room also, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Always from.
You can be. Most of my users now are one-room VPad users, bring in their laptops or go into a computer lab. They'll be training on VPad the next hour, or 45 minutes, are they? The computer lab, the training session is VPad. So if you want to learn more about the current VPad, how it works, what it does, that is the next little training tidbit we have coming up at 15 minutes from now, since I'm such a short speaker. So.
Well, why would you want to use the hub system that you have as a traditional when you can, because everyone has to have a computer, right?
Right. You know, not everybody has that ability to have a computer.
That's why you want to use the hub as quick.
But also, not all classes are distance classes. So if I am at the satellite campus and I have classes that are taught on campus, but I take that one large lecture campus class that's taught at the main branch and I have to sit and watch my video conferencing, I may have already bought my clicker and I'm already using my response card in class. So now I can utilize it and still be engaged in something that I used to hated going to. I didn't want to sit through. I went to a very small school, so it's hard for me to understand exactly what the students go through, but I've actually gotten to sit in and see these giant lecture classes or classes where there's nobody in front of you. So this gives them these more use too. You know, I've already bought this for my on-campus classes, but now I could use it all the time. So,
So the distance responses just get meshed in with the in-person ones?
Right, yeah, it's just like they were right in that classroom with them. So they're a part of the conversation, and what the professor there was doing is, you know, he would always, and most times when you use the software, it's, so why did you know, 68% of the class chose A, so why did you choose A? And he flips to the Tulsa screen and talks to people from the other, and they start participating where they've, you know, that person's not always as engaged. But now they kind of feel like they're a part of everything. So it works really well for them. It is something that's just really kind of booming out and running through. So it's, you know, I know 2 schools that use it right now heavily, obviously Oklahoma and Nova Southeastern, and they're big users of it and advocates. But not everybody's really moved into that arena.
Another technical question then. So if we've got this hub at a remote site, and perhaps that remote site is a training center for us, the Chicagoland area. We partner a lot with a particular place, but it's multiple departments. We may be originating coursework from different places on campus. What's the setup at the remote site to say that during this hour we need to talk to the computer in classroom A, but in the next hour it's to the computer classroom B? Are there profiles? Are there things that need to be set up?
There are IP addresses, aren't they, Rob? That you have the different IP addresses you have to connect
but
to.
As the faculty or as the end user, I'm going to have to go in and tell this device for this particular presentation I need to attach to this computer. Okay.
Right.
With that piece of hardware, yes.
Right.
With that particular piece of hardware, the hub, which is right now.
But with ours,
But ours is gonna
more like a VPAD.
more of a VPAD connection, like pick a session kind of connection, which is the new way the browser VPAD works. You know, it's a little different than it used to be.
Sure.
Obviously, you guys been around for a while, so a little different than what you're used to. But you know, of course, you always know we have lots of training and stuff, and we'll get you guys ready to go. Anybody who's interested in this, you know, we'll be able to train on everything, get you ready to go, get you moving along on trying to do it, or even do maybe a pilot of this. If you guys are interested, you know, hey, let's try this for, you know, one class, or let's do this for one time and see if we'd like it, or we can always do those kinds of things just to kind of expand the use of everything and see how it would work for you and if it would solve any problems you may have or are facing teaching these types of classes. Okay. Any more questions?
What is the cost for the students if they use something like this rather than having
The VPAD runs between, depending on quantity, $60 and $30. So depending on your quantity buy.
But are you talking about the device itself? I mean,
the VPAD is a device, yeah.
Okay, but don't they have to pay a fee to TurningPoint?
Right, $60 or $30 each VPAD, or the school can provide that. Yeah.
30 to 60.
Yeah, so depending upon the quantity and the type, you know, like a standardized campus is different than, say, you know, a campus is just starting out on everything, and so. All right. Well, we got out early because I'm just super quick.